Okay, I appreciate your patience. What I'm going to do is you have 4 different posts. They're all related to the same thing, but they all build on each other over the course of, I guess, the week or so when all of this was going on. But you transferred in with an IEP, and there's been a consistent history of needed one-to-one support, specifically with regards to the dignity aspect and your son's needs. He's in a wheelchair and has, the sufficient need to justify requiring that one-to-one support. So yes, not only would you have a claim under the Americans with Disabilities Act, but under, under all of them, quite frankly, it can all be wrapped into a special education complaint. But in this particular situation, depending on how much resistance you get from the school system, it might be better to separate those, bang for your buck kind of situation. You also have an Office of Civil Rights issue. OCR could assist you in this. So look at Office of Civil Rights. They absolutely could jump in and be a quick benefit to you. I know that where you're located in Hawaii, there's going to be special education attorneys. I don't know if they function like we do, with regards to retainer requirements and all of those things. I mean, we're sort of unique in how we deal or how we handle cases. And I don't know anybody in Hawaii, so I can't throw out any names. At the same time, you're absolutely correct. You transfer in with your IEP, and until they develop one, then they need to provide the comparable services that were in your IEP that you transferred in with, including that level of support. Now, it looks like, from what I read, is that they had an aide following your child around with a clipboard, which means that what are they doing? Are they conducting an FBA? Is that a functional behavior assessment? If they're gathering data, then I would argue to say that that's what they're doing because they're observing behavior. Now, people need to understand that behavior isn't, it's not, it doesn't necessarily mean maladaptive behavior, meaning that your child is acting up in class, throwing stuff, tearing anything up. No, behavior could be anything. The level of redirection your child requires, attentiveness, their ability to mand or request. Those are all behaviors. Then so you look at that separate, and as far as the tally marks, that would be one aspect. Well, then you look at the self-care aspect and that level of need. Those would be two separate analyses with regards to the level of support that your child needs in order to justify continuation. And that's how I would word it. A continuation of the one-to-one support, being that there's a historical history. There's a history in all prior IEPs of this level of support being needed across multiple LEAs. All right. And, I can't see, I love Hawaii. It's a beautiful place, but I can't see how the oxygen level is magically different there than somehow be a healing value on your son's level of need. All right. Some of these schools are just like, oh, we think we can do it with the inclusion teacher. No, you can't do it with the inclusion teacher. And believe me, if anybody was to really push the inclusion teacher doesn't want to be solely responsible for that, and nor should he or she. At the same time, your son needs a male aide with regards to his age and the toileting assistance. I had a case years ago that, yes, they had to construct a bathroom for my client. Now what they do, they didn't construct the bathroom, but what they did was they had one of the stalls, and they raised or they basically created a wall out of plywood, had a door with a lock that my client had a key to, okay? Inside were all the supplies, wipes, everything that he needed. The reason I had to come back in is they constructed the wall, but then left, that much space. And I'm talking enough space that a big adult could go underneath. And so, I'm going to go ahead and tell this story. So we all went in, people with clipboards, all the administration, their attorney, along with my client, to do a walkthrough. We went into the bathroom and the door was locked, and he opened the door for us, and none of us went in. I mean, but he went in, and he says he called me over, and I looked in the toilet, and somebody had gone number two, and fairly sizable number two. And so I called everybody else over, because they just were telling me adamantly, nobody's going under there. Nobody's getting into his room, or into his bathroom. Nobody's getting into his supplies. And the expression on all of their faces, I mean, it was like that. They were all like, oh, okay. So they just had to come in and add an addition to bring the rest of the wall down to the floor. But that's how we solved that problem. And it wasn't that costly. And that's always the analysis, is that the cost, it just is not that cost prohibitive for them to sit there and construct him a bathroom and then provide trained support to assist him as it's needed, and not stand outside the bathroom. They can stand outside of his, in order to assist in the means and the ways that preserves that dignity, but then provides him the support that he needs. And that's what I would recommend there. And they can construct it. That's an ADA issue, though. I don't know what the current status is because of when you asked this question, and I appreciate your patience. I guess it's been a little bit over a month, but let me know. But you would have a strong case to maintain the aid and get that program where it needs to be, considering the history that's followed you to Hawaii. So provide an update if you don't mind.